Magic's a funny thing. Video game review time. This was one I actually did not stream. I played this one entirely on my own. Heartspell Horizon Academy. This is a combination visual novel and three color match puzzle game. And that might sound like either a slightly tortured combination or a slightly boring combination. And I will grant, it's not like it's the cleverest thing in the world in marrying the two, although I do think I personally at least like the justification. But speaking as someone who is iffy on visual novels, but does like match three puzzle games, I did a video a couple of years ago about how I think at that point I'd been playing the same one on my phone for 8 years. I'm up to, I think, a decade or more now. On Marvel Puzzle Quest. Oh dear God, that game is so borked. Now the developers changed hands. It's bugged. Every update it gets bugged again. Anyways, I'm still playing it, but regardless, to give you an idea of like how tightly integrated the puzzle stuff and the visual novel is, you can turn the puzzling off and just do the visual novel thing. So if that's all you're interested, you can totally just do that. So this is a story about a magical academy. And no, I will not be evoking the franchise that shall not be named, because honestly, the entire energy of it is pretty different from that one. There's a number of interesting quirks right off the bat, starting from the fact that things are off pretty much from the get-go because the headmaster who runs the place is missing. You've got some of the upperclassmen basically trying to keep it going, and you have this great mix of species. So your character is human, and there's a couple of humans who are there, but there's also a siren. There are high fae. There are what's called remnants. There is, I forget what she's called. I think she looks like an elf. She's not an elf. She's called something else. I can't remember what it is now. Oh, we have a werewolf. There's a nice mix of stuff here. So there's already way better variety of characters than that other franchise that we don't need to think about. And the story as you work your way through it is getting to know your classmates and, yes, building your relationships with them, which you do not have to, but you can pursue romantically. First thing I like about this, polyamory and pansexuality is totally normalized. It actually is unspecific as to what your character is. It's been too long since I started. I cannot remember if they give you like pronoun and gender set options at the start. It doesn't matter. There's no visualization of your character, and your character is not voiced. But you will have the ability to romantically pursue literally every single character. And I did. There was actually only one who I like somewhere along the line, or actually a couple of points along the line. Like she just had an attitude where my flirting attempts just grated on her. So that one took me a while to actually get a romantic pursuit. Everything else went really smoothly. But yeah, part of what's great about that though is that it's not just a matter of you can pursue romance with anybody. It's like they all act like you're only with them, which is how it's felt. Other times I've encountered polyamory in games where it's like, oh, you can be with this person and this person at the same time, but it doesn't feel like a polycule because they don't act like they know about each other. You know what I mean? Is kind of how it feels much of the time. Whereas here, not only will other characters sort of make reference to the fact that you're with this person, or you can bring it up in conversation, you can actually even play matchmaker and see if you can get some of these people to start dating each other if you know they're kind of interested in each other and maybe need a little push. So it's pretty well written as far as the amount of options and the directions you can go with the various characters. Everybody other than your character is fully voiced, and the voice acting is pretty solid as well. It's not stunning, it's not amazing, but it's pretty good. It's solid stuff, and as far as the setting goes, there's a lot of little interesting quirks you can tell somebody, I'm not going to say that every idea is that it's like loaded with the most original stuff, but like there's enough tinkering with a lot of otherwise very tropey ideas. I'm like, somebody was having fun. Somebody in constructing this setting, this scenario, and these characters, they know their stuff in terms of tropes, and they know like just little variants you can do. So like, for instance, the healer, in charge of the infirmary, doesn't specialize in healing magic. They're a necromancer, which that ends up being its whole own thing. But like, just the idea that someone who is that knowledgeable about, well, normally dead bodies, but yeah, they can work with a living body. It's not that much different. It's kind of a fun idea. And there's some really interesting stuff with the dynamics with the siren, because, obviously she has this whole thing of she can just, sing and with her voice compel you, but she's kind of tired of that. She wants you to resist her. And more to the point, if you pursue her romantically, she wants you to see if you can compel her, because she's tired of feeling like she's the one who decides everything, and she kind of wants to give up some of that control and feel like she's giving herself over to someone else, which does mean there is a certain amount of kink dynamics in this. Now, I underline the word dynamics and not kink play necessarily, because I would call this a PG-13, like maybe like slightly pushing the edge PG-13. You get like one saucy image of any given character if you complete their story and romantically pursued them. None of them are explicit. None of them have outright nudity in those images. A lot of them have obscured or implied nudity in them. Morgan's especially. Oh, damn, they looked good. Oh, man. Anyways, but it's not explicit. This isn't a spicy game, but it does have descriptors for, what happens. Again, not in explicit detail, but you get a pretty good idea of what it is that happens. And there's also a narrator, which I didn't mention. The narrator is actually pretty great. She does a real good job and is very good at conveying a sense of sort of non-explicit sensuality in the way that, because there is the visualization of the love scenes, but you get some descriptions from her and it works pretty well. And as I say, there is some amount of kink dynamics, because you get stuff like I mentioned with the siren, which is sort of a power play thing a little bit. You have one of the other human characters sort of has an interest in vampires, and that comes up in the romantic aspects with the werewolf, in the sense of, how wild is she going to get? How wild are you comfortable with her being? That's at play. So there is this sort of light kink dynamics without diving into full-on visual or even described depictions of actual BDSM scenes. It's actually, for anyone who's, kind of curious of that stuff or finds the dynamics interesting but doesn't want to go all the way into actual explicit spicy games, this is a real good compromise for that as far as the content goes. Now, I haven't really talked about the match 3 puzzle aspect, which I do like as someone who likes that kind of stuff. There's a couple things that it does that I think are interesting. The first is I like the justification for it, which is that in universe, the way it works is that each of the different colors represents a different element. Blue for water, green for earth, red for fire, et cetera, et cetera. So what each time you do one of the puzzle setups, the premise is that you are trying to cast a spell and you are manipulating the elements, which again it's just a justification to have it there, assuming you're engaging with it at all. But it's enough for me. Like I buy that. I can work with that. And like there is the classic air, earth, fire, water, but there's also these sort of pure mana and chaos. And if you match the chaos, you'll actually lose points, because to successfully cast a spell, you have to get a certain number of points. If you match chaos magic, you will lose points. If you match pure mana, you don't get points for that, but you need to accumulate pure mana in order to cast your spells And sorry, not your spells, your cantrips, which will enable you to assist. Like it might let you remove any one specific specific block from the board, or it might allow you to shift a whole row to the side, or it might change a certain type of element into a different type of element under certain circumstances. Root filter was my go-to. That one was so helpful. As soon as I got that one, I used that one for the entire rest of the game. And also, you can have special abilities, special cantrips that activate whenever you match 4 or match 5. If I have a nitpick, it does bug me a little bit that match 5 only counts if it's 5 across. If you like do 5 like that, it doesn't count as a match 5, though it will still at least count as a match 4. I guess I kind of get it. The match 5 cantrips are so powerful that if you were allowed more ways to get them, it would probably make the game even simpler than it is. And as it is, while I do enjoy the match 3, it's not particularly complicated. It's not all that difficult. So if you're there for a challenge, I mean, it can be. Once you complete a character's storyline, you can do this sort of arena thing where you basically can just keep doing progressively difficult spells with that character, because depending on who you're in the scene with, your parameters change slightly, and it is based around who the other character is. So like, for example, the one whose species I could not remember, but her whole thing is being kind of aloof and hard to impress. So that means with her, the only things that will score any points are matches of 4 or matches of 5. Anything less than that scores no points. She's unimpressed. There's sort of the very first one you meet, who's very much sort of a tutor type. It takes fewer points to succeed in a spell with him. With one of the upperclassmen that you pursue, it just flat out takes more. There is one who there's just going to be more chaos magic generated. With the siren, she performs your every alternate turn. So you'll do something, but then she'll do your next move, and it may or may not have been what you wanted it to be. One that I really liked was Miko. Oh, I gotta talk about her. I will in a second. Miku, who is she's an oracle, and so the way that you score really well with her is your first match on any given move only gets you half points. But every subsequent match that happens because of that, you get double. So like, if you match something and then it causes things to fall and that does more matches, the third, fourth, fifth, however many more you do are all double points. Because that's her whole deal, is being an oracle. So if you're thinking ahead and planning for how the move shifts the board and what happens as a cascading effect, you get more points, because that's thematically her whole deal. I like her a lot also. From the romantic perspective, she's kind of the freebie, because she's first time you meet her, she's like, oh, hey, hey, lover. But the thing is, the reason she's like that is because she does not always have the easiest time telling when she's in the present and when she is in one of her own prophecies of the future. So when she first meets you, she had been in a sort of a prophecy headspace prior to that. She thought you were already together. And so the first time she meets you and hugs you and then realizes you hadn't met her yet, she's kind of embarrassed and horrified. And the way you get closer is by being very understanding of the fact that, it's hard for her sometimes to realize where she is in time right now and what has or hasn't actually happened yet. And the characters actually have some interesting depths to them. Morgan the Necromancer has a real interesting journey. A lot of them have a lot of personal growth stories. Things they need to overcome or get better at, or they just flat out need help with. And everybody's pretty well considered. There's only a couple of characters who I would consider to be kind of generic. Riley a little bit. He's the first one you meet. But I think everybody who likes visual novels and the ideas of romantically pursuing or even just getting to know these characters better, you're going to find somebody you like, whether it is the gruff jock werewolf girl, or whether it is the mildly oblivious himbo who loves to cook, or whether it is the flirty non-binary necromancer who you're not sure if you should trust them or not. And there's just a real fun mix of characters. And again, speaking as someone who has a tendency to get bored with graphic, it's hard for me to get through definitely straightforward graphic novels that are nothing else on top of that. This was good. I had fun with this, and it did help that I got to break from, stretches of visual novel stuff with a puzzling type of gameplay that I like. So, yeah, I don't want to oversell it. It's not like this amazing thing, but for the elements that it's working with, they're well considered and well applied. I think this is upper tier for both the puzzle gaming and the visual novel stuff, at least from visual novels that I've experienced. And so put them together and yeah, it's just pleasant. It's homey. It's comforting. I just liked this. This was good. Have you heard of this? Played this? I do recommend it. Or what are your thoughts about anything that I've said? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe. They all help. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Zubin Lafula, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, Oliver B, Mystic Shadow, Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Becky Sparks, Ulrich, Twilord, Tracy Scrabbit, Pau Barabajoggle, Sir Didymus is my favorite, and to thank some folks from the lower tiers: Cyborg Ex Machina, Alex, and Lightning Spirit. I've been saying Angry Casperol for ages, and I almost said Angie Casperol. You are distracting, the whole lot of you.